everyone, Arlene here. Welcome back to my Country Craft Corner and Arlene's Travels. How in the world are you guys doing today? It is so good to see you again, and thank you so much for stopping back by to see what I'm up to. And what I'm up to today is I'm going to start with my Alaska cruise report. I'm probably going to have to cut this into at least 2 videos, I would imagine. I don't think I can get through this whole thing in one fell swoop. I mean, I can try, but I don't want to rush through anything. So I'm just going to go with it, go with my gut here and see how I do. So let's see, I'm trying to think where I left off in my, with the Pacific Coastal Cruise. I believe we were at Turnaround Day. And Turnaround Day is just the last day of that cruise, disembarkation day of the Pacific Wine Country Cruise. And it is the first day of the Alaska-Vancouver round trip. We had pulled into Vancouver, British Columbia early that morning, probably around 6:30 that morning.
Hey everyone, Arlene here. We are finishing up our California Wine Country Cruise as we are gliding in to Vancouver here. This is the Lionsgate Bridge here that we're fixing to go under. A shore sign that we've reached Vancouver. We're going to be picking up a bunch of new Scott Singer Cruises group cruise participants today here in Vancouver. It is chilly. It is only about 6:15 in the morning and it's about 50 degrees and breezy. It's chilly. See the sun's just come up. Been up super early. Been up early all week. Tried to stay on East Coast time. Work as we go through Alaska or not, but I'm hoping so I can stave off some jet lag when I get back home. Here we go underneath the Lionsgate Bridge. It is a beautiful bridge. And then we're going to be coming into Canada Place, which is the cruise terminal here. Cruise ship terminal. I can't talk, sorry. Here we go. I'm just going to be quiet as we glide under this pretty bridge. And no, I'm not going to walk across this bridge. Next stop, Canada Place.
And one of our group cruisers was staying in an Airbnb, and we were forward in the ship, and I was out on the balcony, and she says, I see that we see the island coming in, the island princess, you know, we see it coming in. So I'm out on the balcony waving my brains out. And I said, I'm in a red coat. Can you see me? And she said, I think I see you. It was so much fun. That's when the fun started on this cruise. I'm going to cry, you guys. This cruise was magical. From that very first moment to the very last moment, it was special. This group of people that came together on this cruise, we clicked, we got along really well. It was an amazing cruise. Not to mention the fact that a lot of things happened on the cruise. We saw a rainbow with whales. We saw orca, which you normally don't see, in Ock Bay, which is in Juneau. So anyway, I'm yammering. Let me start at that day. So Chris and I were in a mini suite, and we went ahead and booked a suite for that particular cruise. Two reasons. One, we were very close to becoming elite in the captain's circle. We've been cruising a long, long time, and being elite doesn't do anything except for tell people that you've spent a copious amount of money on cruises throughout however many years. You hear some people talking about being elite and they think it's the best thing since sliced bread, and they think they're all that in a bag of chips and more. Oh, I don't think that. As a matter of fact, I'll probably turn my cruise card around and be a little embarrassed, because some of the things that I see online that these people say are ridiculous, are just ridiculous, and they act like they're entitled to the world. Well, they're no better than me, and I'm no better than anybody else now that I'm elite. Who cares? But Chris wanted me, I think I would get on my soapbox about that. I have a little issue with that. But Chris wanted me to be elite for our next cruise. For my next cruise, I'm going by myself with Barbara, one of the ladies you'll see in my pictures here, and her sister Pat. And we cruised with them. For those of you who've been with me for a while, we cruised with them in the Caribbean with their husbands. Well, the three of us girls are just going to do the Mexican Riviera in October, which is just awesome, and I'm really looking forward to that. And I should be able to vlog some of that for you guys in real time, maybe throw up a couple of videos, because I'll have internet on that ship, I think, if all was working well. Regardless of all that, he wanted me to be elite for that trip. If I wanted to get my laundry done for free, you get free laundry, and you get some other perks. So he just wanted me to be elite, and we wanted to be elite by we're going to go to New Zealand next year. So we wanted to be sure to be elite by then, just because it does give you more perks. Not that we talk about it, or not that we brag about it or anything like that. Anyway, but that's why we went ahead and bit the little bullet. It wasn't that much more expensive, to be honest with you, than a mini suite would have been. It was pretty cheap. So we chose to move on up to a suite, which gave us perks, breakfast in one of the specialty restaurants every morning, free laundry if we wanted it, a free mini bar setup, which we're not big drinkers, so we turned it in for a coffee card and for sodas, diet sodas. Actually, we turned it in for all diet sodas because Chris already had a bunch of coffee cards. He didn't drink all his coffee the week before. He had a bunch of coffee, so he didn't need that. But anyway, you can turn it in for coffee cards if you want, regardless of all that. So the first thing we had to do that morning was wait. Normally, you have to be out of your stateroom by 8 a.m. on disembarkation morning. And you have to put your luggage out the night before, and so on and so forth. Well, all we had to do was pack whatever we had in drawers. We could leave all of the clothes that were hung up on hangers, but whatever were in drawers or in the shelving, we had to pack up. And the steward, and actually an officer, I don't even know what she was an officer of, but she came in to collect us that morning, and she moved us, and we went down a deck to the Dolphin Deck 9 and all the way back to the aft, toward the back of the ship. From the forward, we went to the back. And we were in the Lanai suite, and I'm putting up some pictures here, and I will get a video up of a video tour of that room too soon. And it was lovely. It's lovely. It's lovely to have a suite. Chris goes to bed usually before I do, so there's curtains that you can close off, and I can sit there and work on my computer or watch TV while he's sleeping. In the morning, he gets up before I do. He goes and gets his coffee. He comes back. He can just sit there and watch TV or read or whatever and not wake me up. So it's very nice to have it, I will say. So anyway, we got all moved in, and then we had to go off of the ship. We were what's called a passenger in transit. And what that means is that just means that we're going to stay on for the next cruise, but you need to go off and then come back on and go through kind of a new registration. They just kind of have you down for that cruise, meaning that you just need to go off and then get scanned back in, have your picture taken, for that cruise. So here is a cruise card. It is the size of a credit card. You can see that I'm platinum here, and that my muster station was A. Your muster station is always printed on your card there, and your dates down here, I had anytime dining. The dining room I needed to be in was the Bordeaux. That was the anytime dining room was the Bordeaux. And at this point I had completed 12 cruises. After this one was 13, and then you get two cruise points for having a suite. So I had 14 and 15, which gave me the suite. So anyway, there was that. So anyway, I went off the ship. Chris went off and he went shopping. He went off earlier than me. What was I doing? Talking to somebody. I don't know what I was doing. Scott had a meeting with the group of folks that he's working in Alaska this summer. And so I was out there pretty much by myself, went out and was just sitting and chatting with people. And you know, they just put you in a passenger and transit kind of holding area. And I looked across the cruise terminal, and Barbara, my really dear friend, I'm gonna cry again, oh my gosh, Barbara has beautiful blonde hair. And I was scanning, you know, the people over there because I know what level she is, you know, so I was scanning that group of people, and all of a sudden I see her stand up. And I Barb, you know, I yell across the cruise terminal, and everybody, whew, you know, looks at you, and I'm like, oh, hello, everybody. Yes, that's me and my big mouth. She saw me. We started running. You know, think of what is that movie, Chariots of Fire? You know, we start running toward one another because we hadn't seen each other since last August, and we're running, you know, and we crash into one another and just hug and hug and hug and hug and hug. It was so good to see her again. Oh my goodness. And her husband was there, so I kind of, you know, went around the people and went in and gave him a hug. And then there were two other ladies, Lydia, sweet Lydia, who is my subby on my Country Craft Corner, the one who went to the library and did her funky bows and stuff at her local library, taught people how to do them, bless her heart. She was there on this cruise with us, and another lady named Bonnie, she was sitting there, and a lady named Stephanie. And you know, it was just like, I'm like hugging everybody, saying hi to everybody. You know, it's so nice to meet them in person. You know, I've been talking to all these folks online for years, and it's so nice to I mean, I know what their pretty faces look like, but it's nice to hug them and say, hey, how you doing in person, you know? There's something pretty special about that. So all of a sudden I look over and I see my group get up and start to march, and I said, oh, I gotta go. So I like zipped back over. I'll see you at lunch, you know. So I said, whoever wants to meet for lunch can meet in the Bordeaux dining room at noon. Meet me there and we'll eat lunch, you know. So I all of a sudden met up with Chris. He came in and he said, hey. I said, hey. So we walked in together and walked back on the ship, and I don't remember what I did then, but we went to lunch in the dining room, and here's a picture of us all the ones who wanted to eat lunch were there, you know, in the Bordeaux dining room. And we had a lovely first lunch. And then later that day, we met at the Hearts and Minds chapel is what it is, but it was just a meeting place that Cheryl, our travel agent, had arranged for us to have that room. I think for an hour a day, all week or something, we were allowed to go in there and meet if we wanted to. So we all met there right before muster drill, and you know, kind of introduced ourselves and said hi to everybody that I hadn't seen in the cruise terminal, you know. Introduced everybody. Everybody got up and said their name and who they were traveling with, and you know, a little bit of their background, and it was really nice to meet everybody. We drew names, and Cheryl had provided a bunch of lovely, lovely gifts for everybody. And I had brought a cookbook from one of the chef's tables that we had done. I gave that in, and a pair of slippers. So, and then I had made that magnet. Let me put a picture up to show you the magnet. I made everybody a door magnet because the doors and walls in your stateroom on a cruise ship are metal. So I made everybody, you know, a magnet. And some of them had a little trouble. So I told them, I said, if you ever do anything like that, by the way, roll it the opposite direction of how it would normally roll. Like roll it with the magnetic side showing, and just hold it there for a minute. That way, when you put it on the door, it kind of wants to hug the door a little bit more. Some of us had a little trouble getting it to stick. It did stick eventually, but you had to set your mouth right. And I was like, oh, this is frustrating. So I don't know what it was about those particular doors. But anyway, so we did that, and then we all went to, well, they went to their muster. We didn't have to go to our muster drill. Those of us who had been on the cruise already did not have to go to the muster drill. So we, dispersed and said, we'll meet up on deck, whatever it was, 14 or 15, for sail away, So we met up on deck for sail away and just had a big time talking and dancing with the party, had our picture taken with Stanley, the bear. Stanley is the Princess Bear. And rode under, I'm showing you pictures as we go here, drove underneath the Lion's Gate.
All right, here we go. We're still at Sail Away here, and we are just having a grand time. We're all singing and we're all dancing. We're all having a crazy time. I also, Chris and I have the unlimited photo package, so we're grabbing the professional photographer from all over the place and trying to get pictures. We just took pictures with Stanley Bear, the Princess Bear. But look at the snow-capped mountains, y'all. Look at that. Chris and I have been to Alaska many, many times, and we see glaciers on the mountains, but we don't often see snow-capped mountains like that. It's just beautiful, absolutely beautiful.
And off we were going, north to Alaska. I'd like to go back right now. I'm telling you, I love Alaska. I couldn't believe how lucky and blessed I was to be headed back to Alaska again, y'all. I'm telling you, I just love, 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 love Alaska. So, trying to think, the first day out, I'm getting my Princess Patter. For those of you who don't know, on Princess, you will receive each day of your cruise a Princess Patter. Now, Princess is celebrating 50 years in Alaska. So, I forgot to bring, Don, Barb's husband, gave me a little 50-year pin, bless his heart, and I'll show you what else she gave me. But this is a Princess Patter, and in your first Princess Patter, there is your itinerary right there, and you can see that some evenings are smart casual and some are formal. Everybody's always asking what days are formal, what days are smart casual. You'll know immediately when you get on the ship what nights will be formal and what nights will be smart casual. And they're talking about in the dining room. You can go to specialty restaurants or the buffet or the grill or anywhere else in smart casual attire. When they say formal night, they mean formal in the main dining room or the MDR, if you see that online. Main dining room. So our second day, I'm trying to think what we did for dinner. Oh, Chris and I'm trying to think what we did for dinner that night. Do I have pictures? I have no memory. I bet you we all ate it as a group, but I don't remember it, and I don't have any pictures of it. I don't remember. Anyway, the next morning, Chris and I went to, was a sea day, and Scott had provided us with, I don't know whether I have a picture of that. I may. If I do, I'll put it up. Provided us with a schedule of events. Like each day we could eat for a group lunch at 11:45. Each day we could meet for tea at 3 o'clock. Each evening it would be dinner, for those times that we were not going to be having excursions, would be dinner. And they actually got us, Cheryl arranged for us three tables in the Provence dining room. Well, the Provence dining room was really for traditional diners, but we were all anytime diners. So that just meant we could go into the Provence anytime we want, at 5:15. We had that table at 5:15. So every night if we wanted it. So some of us went some nights, some of us didn't go. It was very organic. Cheryl gave me that word. This whole cruise was very organic. If we saw somebody walking down the hall, say, hey, you want to go grab tea at 3? Sure, let's do it. Hey, are you going to go have dinner? Yeah, I'll have dinner. Let's do that. Or, hey, I'm on my way here. You want to go shopping with me? Yeah, let's do that. Not one, it was so easy. It was so easy, you know? I just felt blessed to be in with this group of people. I'm telling you, it was awesome, awesome, awesome. So the next day was a sea day, as I said, and we went to breakfast at Sabatini's, which is where sweet passengers can go for a free breakfast, you know. So Chris and I went there, and then we went for a scavenger hunt. Everybody, well, those who wanted to participate met in front of the Bordeaux dining room at whatever time we had, 11 o'clock or whatever. And Scott said, okay, break up into groups of 4. You cannot have anybody in your stateroom in your group, though. It's got to be somebody different, you know. So husband and wives were broken up, friends were broken up, you know, and we just, oh my goodness. And he gave us a list of things to go and find, and we had to take a selfie in front of whatever it was. Well, my group of ladies, we called ourselves the Crazy Alaska Ladies. And we were crazy. We ran around that ship. We tore around that ship like we owned it. I'm telling you. We had so much fun. It was so fun, you know, to go, you know, we had to go, I can't even say, here's a compilation picture of most of our selfies. We're crazy, I'm telling you. It was so much fun. It was so much fun. And what a nice bonding experience, you know. That really helped to bring us all closer together. You know, participating in the excursions and participating in this little scavenger hunt, you know, it helped those of us who participated in those things to bond, you know. And it gave us a camaraderie that is unsurpassed. You know I've made lifelong friends with every single person, you know. So we did the scavenger hunt. That was fun. Before we went to the scavenger hunt, though, Barb and I had gone to see Mark Harris. He was the naturalist on board the Island Princess for this season. Any of you who are sailing on the Island Princess will have the privilege and pleasure of seeing Mark Harris. He is awesome, one knowledgeable gentleman, and he is a gentleman. He's such a kind-spirited man, and he is a wealth of information, and he is so available. He makes himself available. He'll sit down and talk with you, and if you have a question, he'll generously answer it. So calm, so patient, so kind. I mean, he is such a nice man. He sat with us one day, Glacier Bay Day. We were sitting with him and just picking his brain and talking to him about things, you know. And Barb and I are both friends with him on Facebook too. Privileged to be his friend on Facebook. And so she had seen him in the Horizon Court that morning, and she said, Mark, I'm warning you, Arlen and I have got to get up and leave. We're going to do a scavenger hunt with our group. Well, Barb says, Arlen, we got to go. We were sitting down front. He's sitting there talking, and I'm like, oh, Barb, okay. So we get up, and we're like, we're so sorry, Mark, we're so sorry. And he's like, it's okay, in the microphone, you know, it's okay, ladies, you know. And Dawn told us after we got out of there, we're like going up the steps going, we're sorry, we don't mean to interrupt, we're sorry, you know. We get all the way up the steps, and apparently Dawn, Barb's husband, said that he said, those are such nice ladies, you know, I know them, or something like that. And it was, you know, he made it okay that we had interrupted him. Oh, I felt bad. But bless his heart, he's great. Mark Harris, if you are on the Island Princess, you are in for a treat. So let's see, after this, I don't remember what else we did that day. Was that night a formal night? Yes, that night was our first formal night. And for those of you who've been following me on my Country Craft Corner, I did a video that showed my little jumpsuit. That's what I wore that night, was my navy blue jumpsuit. And here's some pictures of us. Chris and I also, for this cruise, because we knew it was a group cruise, we did the ultimate photo package, which meant that we paid, I think, $190 for it or something like that. And every picture that was taken of us on that entire cruise was ours. And we ended up with 146 pictures, something like that. Just, you know, tons and tons and tons and tons of pictures. every time, every time the photographers were set up, here we came as a horde. They got to the point where they loved us. We're a friendly group of people. You know, we're not ostentatious. We're not, you know, we were kind. We were very, very kind and gracious. And they were in turn gracious with us, and they got, you know, they wanted us to come. One guy said, "Hey, I'm over here. I'm set up. Come over here," you know. So we had a blast. So you know, I'm flashing up some pictures here of you know, some of the pictures that were caught that night. You know, we just had a lovely time. Lovely time at formal night. I did all four. We did all four. Chris and I did all four formal nights, 2 per cruise. And had a lovely time. Lovely, lovely, lovely time. Let's see. Then the next day we were in Juneau, Alaska. I think I might be able to get through this maybe in about 45 minutes, huh? Okay, we'll keep going here. Excuse me as I take a little drink. The next morning we had to turn our clocks back from the East Coast. Alaska time is 4 hours earlier. Like right now it's 2:30 here in Virginia, and it's 10:30 in Alaska right now, a.m. 2:30 p.m. here, 10:30 a.m. there. So we had to turn our clocks back, and they give you, I'll show you a picture, they give you a little clock or a little thing on your pillow the night you have to change your clock, and they tell you, please, I can't see what it says, please remember to set your clock 1 hour back or 1 hour forward before retiring, you know. But the next morning we were in Juneau. Oh, and it was cold. You could tell we were in Alaska, and it was raining. And you can tell we were in Alaska because, you know, it rains in Alaska a lot. And walked out on our balcony, and over my shoulder there sat a beautiful bald eagle. Oh my goodness, she or he, I'm not sure what it was, of course, sat there in those trees almost all day. Every time I looked up there, it was there that day. And a hint for you when you pull into Juneau or when you're scanning the trees wherever you are in Alaska, keep an eye out for a baseball or a softball, or a baseball or a golf ball size white ball in the trees. And that's a sure sign it's an eagle sitting there all pretty. Except if it's a juvenile. Juvenile bald eagles do not get their white heads until they're about 4 or 5 years old. But if it's an adult bald eagle, their little white heads kind of pop out of those green trees, you know. And that's the way, if you scan the trees, you know, or scan it with your binoculars or with your camera lens, you know. I just saw him with the naked eye though. I'm like, Chris, there's an eagle. He goes, where? So he came with his big lens and got a few pictures of that beautiful eagle. So on this day, we were going on a whale watching excursion and a trip to Mendenhall Glacier. It was a combined excursion. We did not do this through Princess. We did this through Juneau Tours and Whale Watch. Scott had met this gentleman on the dock last year, because Scott worked in Alaska last year too, and said, hey, could you give us a group rate? So he did. And oh my goodness, what a wonderful excursion this was. I have to tell you, we were the only ship, we were one of the first ships up into Alaska this year, and we were the only ship in all of the ports, which was amazing. It was amazing. You were not fighting the crowds. We were very lucky to be there. So we were on a little bus all by ourselves, and we were on a boat all by ourselves in the whale watching, except for 2 or 3 other people, 2 of which happened to be my subscribers. It's such a small world, you know? So she said she had seen me at the airport, I think, and wanted to say something but didn't, and I'm like, always, I'm telling y'all, if you see me out and about somewhere or in Alaska or wherever I'm traveling, stop me, say hello, grab me, give me a hug. I want to meet you all. Please, 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 please. So anyway, they were there, and we just kind of grouped them right into our group, pulled them right in, and they had a good time, I think. So first thing we did, though, we went to Mendenhall Glacier. Mendenhall Glacier is one of the only tidewater glaciers that you could actually see from land. And I don't know the particulars about Mendenhall Glacier. It's a beautiful glacier, and you can walk over to Nugget Falls, which is a waterfall. And Barbara and a bunch of them walked over there. I walked there last year. I wasn't going to do it again this year. So a group of them went over there, and so the rest of us went up into the visitor center because it was pretty much, it wasn't pouring, but it was raining pretty steady. So we all took a trip into the visitor center and walked up there, and I got talking to one of the park rangers and other people, a couple of the park rangers actually, and other people, and it was beautiful. It was just beautiful. I don't care if it rains or not. Sometimes in the rain it makes the blue of the glacier come out even more. So anyway, we had to meet at a certain time. So we met our little bus, who then drove us over to Auk Bay. And we climbed on this bus. It was a nice catamaran, which was very nice. Here's a picture, very big, very nice. Had 2 levels to it. Chris went straight upstairs because that's where he always goes to take pictures. And this crew on this boat was absolutely awesome. I highly recommend them. Highly recommend them. I encourage you to try them out. Juneau Tours and Whale Watch. Google them, look them up. If I can find a link, I'll give it to you in the description. They are absolutely phenomenal. Well versed in where the whales were, well versed in the history of the whales, what whales are in Juneau. Most of them travel back and forth. Just to let you know a little bit about humpback whales. Most of the whales in Auk Bay that I've ever seen have been humpback whales. And I've seen the same whale a couple of times in Auk Bay myself. And her name, I can't think what she named, Angel, something like that. But she's always a great performer for them, and she always shows her tail and, doesn't mind the boats or whatever. They are very, very, very good with the whales. Anyway, they have to stay within however many yards, and they're very respectful of their space, We did see a couple of humpbacks, but all of a sudden, here comes the little naturalist inside, and she said, y'all, I can't believe this. And I knew she was being serious because I've been in Auk Bay 7 times previous to this and never and once have seen orca. Well, that was our whale watching for the day more than the humpbacks, was orcas. Oh my goodness, a whole pod of them. And they were, well, probably 4 or 5 of them. I don't think it was a whole pod, but 4 or 5 of them, a little baby and its mama. And it was amazing. I'll be putting some videos up just of snippets of these whales. It was amazing to see. It literally brought me, I'm getting choked up thinking about it. Brought me to tears. So touched, so blessed, feel so blessed that I'm able to sit and see that in person,
Wow! Oh my goodness, look at her! It, him, whatever it is. Let's see the white.
Oh, wow. This is so cool. Look. That's a baby, isn't it?
Baby
Yeah,
shampoo.
it looks like a baby.
Oh, gosh.
I'm just gonna wait and take those pictures. I won't take that.
Yeah, Mama's somewhere.
Oh
my gosh. Are you kidding me? Oh, I don't care.
Oh,
my
wow.
gosh. She's getting close.
Has Mom come up again? I haven't looked over there.
No, I haven't seen Mama yet. I've only seen the baby. Oh my goodness.
Oh, my
Are you
goodness.
kidding me?
Can you believe this?
Right here. Right behind you.
We might just get a close encounter.
Ooh.
Where's Ed?
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Are you kidding me?
Ed, go dangle your feet in.
Are you kidding me? Oh my gosh. I'm gonna cry. I've only seen the baby. Oh my goodness.
Oh my
Are you kidding
goodness.
me?
Can you believe this?
Then we did see a humpback mama and her calf. That's what I was fixing to tell you. Most of the humpbacks do travel, the mama humpbacks especially, travel from Hawaii. They go back and forth from Hawaii to Alaska. Alaska is what they call the kitchen. Hawaii is what they call the bedroom. That's where they go to have their calves, and then they make, what is it, a 2,000 or 3,000 mile journey from Hawaii back to Alaska. Some of them go from Mexico to Alaska. But they make that trek every year, and then they come back to Alaska and they eat and eat and eat and eat and eat. And when they're in Hawaii, they never eat. They don't eat a thing. Go figure. They're amazing creatures. So that day was just amazing. Just amazing. I'm telling you, you guys, I can't even, I'm sharing these pictures, y'all see. It's just, I was so touched, so humbled again. I felt small. I always feel tiny being in Alaska and seeing all the bigness, the grandeur, the snow-capped mountains. Speaking of which, I can't remember what we did for dinner that night. We came back, we were all pretty wet and, tired. So anyway, that night, I think we ate at the buffet, and here's some pictures of us pulling away from Juneau. We were there until like 10:30 at night. And it was so pretty to see it all lit up. So the next morning we were in Skagway. Skagway, Alaska is always my very favorite cruise port, Alaska port. I love Skagway. I think it's the prettiest port mountain-wise. It's just beautiful. The cruise ship sits kind of, you come through the Lynn Canal before you come into Skagway, and then you sit there and the mountains just soar behind the ship. And it's all of your ports in Alaska, at least Skagway, Juneau, Ketchikan, are all very close to the ship, where they're very easy walking, within walking distance, very easy walking. So anyway, we pulled into Skagway this morning, and today we were all going to go on, or most of us anyway, we're going to go on an excursion with Chilkoot Charters, which is one of my favorite. I've done Chilkoot before, and we were going to do an 8-hour tour. We took the White Pass Railroad up through the White Pass. There's a big story, Google it. I'm not going to go into the whole big story about the White Pass or the Chilkoot trails. But this was a gold mining town, and the gold rush town. Think about the gold rush, and they had to cut this White Pass up. When you see the pictures here, I can't even imagine. I can't even imagine how these people, the hardy people, I'm telling you, they were hardy people. But we rode the vintage White Pass train up, all the way up the mountain and into the Yukon. We needed our passports. The border into Canada. But I mean, the majestic sights we saw, we had a beautiful day, an absolutely beautiful day to see these I've never seen these mountains so snow-capped, you guys, in May like that. It was beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Lots of snow on either side of the tracks. It was breathtaking. Just I stood out on the platform most of the time with Barbara. She and I stood out there and just and Scott would come out and Chris would come in and out, and it was an amazing experience. So then we got on a little bus, and Mike was our driver through Chilkoot. Well, he had picked us up at the ship and drove us to where we got on the train too. And it was just our group in the bus. And then on the train car, it was mostly just our group. Thank goodness, because we were loud and obnoxious sometimes. Not obnoxious, but loud. My computer just turned off, sorry. And but we got in the bus, and then he drove us on up and into the Yukon and talked about the lakes and talked about the Chilkoot Trail and about how the Canadian border control people made it a law that people who wanted to cross into Canada had to bring a ton of goods, a literal ton of goods with them. Because they had found that people were making the trek and getting to the border, but then once they got there, they died quickly once they got into Canada because they didn't have anything to sustain them through a Canadian winter because they're so harsh up in the Yukon, you know. So they made a new law that they had to bring a ton of goods. And, you know, so many bags of flour, so much this, so much that. And I have a list somewhere. If I can find it, I'll put it up here. Of a ton of goods, and it sometimes took them 3 to 4 trips, and it took them months to make one. I mean, this was a lifelong endeavor for some of these people, literally. So we got to hear all about that, about the gold rush, and I mean, I drink all that stuff up, y'all. I'm like a little geek with all that stuff. And we went to Emerald Lake. Emerald Lake was still frozen, but you could still see the emerald color, and the emerald color is kind of a sign here that explains Emerald Lake and what, it's some kind of moss, I think. But then we went to Caribou Crossing for lunch, and Caribou Crossing is a kind of a cool little outpost looking place. It's got a little museum in it. You can go pet the puppies, although the puppies were sleeping, so I didn't get to pet puppies, but I got to pet 2 mama dogs, sweet sled dogs. If you want to take a sled ride, you can on a cart. You know, the sled dogs will pull you on a cart. That's how they keep them in shape in the summertime, spring and summer. We had lunch there. They provide, which was part of our ticket. So you get a baked chicken and 3 twice baked potatoes, something like that was really good. Coleslaw, a roll, and donuts. These donuts were to die for, you guys. I mean, I'm telling you, we probably ate them out of house and home with the donuts, all of us. It was terrible. We kept going to get, they had like red like solo cups, you know, and everybody kept bringing like cupfuls of donuts back to the tables. Here! And we're like, yeah, okay, I'll have some more. Oh my goodness, it was funny. But then we also stopped at the Yukon sign, and then we stopped at the Welcome to Alaska sign. And it was snowing, you guys. Scott, first of all, had never seen snow in his life, ever. He's from California. He had never seen snow. And we're like, you've never seen snow? You know, those of us from the East Coast are going, you've never seen snow? Really? You know. But we're like, for me, I was so excited to see it snowing, you know? Oh my goodness, how cool was that? And here we are, here are all of us, happy as clams, y'all. I'm telling you, we stopped at lakes, we did skipping rocks. He said, let's stop here at this lake and we can skip some rocks. And we're like, we're all in for that, you know? So we all got out and skipped rocks and went back to our childhood a little bit. It was so much fun. It was so much fun. Mike made it fun, you know, with his stories, and we engaged with him in conversation, and you know, it was a wonderful trip. So he got us back down to Skagway. Again, this was not through Princess. This was not an excursion through Princess. We did this through Chilkoot themselves, which I had done before, so I had experience with them, you know. They had a petting zoo, and I was able to pat Thelma and Louise, the alpacas. They were a little aggressive. A cute donkey, a horse, and goats. I mean, I just had a blast. I loved it, you know. crossing too. So then that's what we stopped and we did a little shopping in Skagway. So we did a little shopping, and you know, just kind of, it was so windy too. The rain had stopped, but it was blowing. It's always windy in Skagway though, y'all. It is always windy in Skagway. It's one thing I remember about Skagway. And we finally got, it was me, Chris, Scott, Cheryl, and Barb and Dawn. And the 6 of us were kind of tootling around shopping in Skagway. So we got back to the ship, and I don't remember what we did for dinner because I don't have picture 1 of whatever we did for dinner that night. I have no memory of that. You know, of course that was an important thing though for us to eat dinner, because you know you have to eat every 20 minutes on board a cruise ship. So I have no memory of what we did that night for dinner. But regardless, the next day was my favorite day of the whole cruise, and that was Glacier Bay Day, y'all. Glacier Bay to me is like heaven on earth. It's like what I picture heaven to be. You know, that's what heaven would be for me. It is quiet, it is pristine, untouched, calm, and beautiful. For those of you who haven't seen it, I'm going to insert a little video right here that I made. It's only 1 minute and 40 seconds long, that I made up last weekend. And this is, I don't even have to say anything else, but here you go. And now let me show you some pictures of Glacier Bay and of Marjorie Glacier. The big glacier you see there is Marjorie Glacier. It is an actively calving glacier. And we saw seals and we saw a sea otter in there. And we saw, I mean, it is just the most amazing. I will not go on an Alaska cruise and not go to Glacier Bay. I wouldn't do an itinerary without Glacier Bay. I just wouldn't. That's just me. That's my personal opinion, but I honest to goodness, wouldn't, you guys. Glacier Bay Day is the highlight of the Alaska cruise for me every single time. I absolutely love it. I can't even, well, I've put it in a lot of words here, but I've kind of bumbled around, but it is an amazing experience. One that I want to experience and re-experience over and over again as long as I'm able, you know? So that night was our second formal night, I believe, on that trip. And again, we stopped and we took pictures and had a great time with the photographers, and it was wonderful. It was wonderful. And then the next day we were in Ketchikan, Alaska. And we went to the Lumberjack show, which was super fun. We did that one through, we organized that through Princess, and that was so much fun. And we got to see the Lumberjacks. They put Canada against the United States, and we happened to be sitting on the Canadian side of the arena, you know. You can't choose when you walk in. You just know you're where you are when they say, okay, this side is Canada and this side is the United States. And of course we had a little battle and it was fun, you know. So then we had our last dinner together that night, and No, we had a sea day in between there, and you know what? I have no memory of what we did on the sea day. It was a relaxing day. I remember after Ketchikan, we had one more sea day, and then that evening is when we had our last dinner with one another, and that was bittersweet. That was very bittersweet, and I was sad. I was very sad, I'll be honest with you, because I had really come to love these people that we were cruising with so very much. There's Sam. Hi, buddy. And, hi, buddy, come here. Oh, no, he's gonna go lay down. And, what can I say? It was an absolutely wonderful, wonderful, wonderful cruise. And we had to say our goodbyes at dinner that night pretty much because we all had to, you know, we all had to disembark at different times the next morning. And they gave, you know, they give you a you get your disembarkation paperwork earlier in the cruise and you have to fill it out. And then you're given cruise tags or given luggage tags, and you have to put your luggage out if you're doing a princess transfer, which Chris and I did. You have to put your luggage out the night before by a certain time, like after dinner, and they take your luggage and ready it for transport from Vancouver anyway. And so that's what we did, and said our last goodbyes. And I was given some gifts from my sweet Barbara. Gave me this beautiful bracelet she had made from a lady. She goes to Cancun every year, and this lady made this beautiful, beautiful little bracelet for me. I love it. I've worn it many times. I love it. Y'all know how I love red. And then she's going to be going to New Zealand too. And this is Stanley, the Princess Stanley Bear, dressed as a little koala bear. Isn't he cute? And she gave me him. I love him. And I will take him with me. They smushed. Their bears smush. So I'll take him and he'll sit on our bed in Sydney. Also, too, for those of you who saw my outfit of the day video, I forgot to show you a close-up of these earrings. I had purchased these Brighton earrings. And that's what they look like. They're so pretty, and they're long. I almost wore them today, but I was like, no, they won't match my necklace. But I got them. They're pretty. And I'll show you one other thing I got from Brighton, but I wanted to show you Miss Lydia gave me a little gift but she gave me a little, these little cards. She made them. And on cruises, I like to leave tips. We all do. Like to leave, your gratuities are taken out of your, each day. There are daily gratuities taken. And they go to the wait staff, and they go to, you know, the people that you don't even see sometimes. But we usually give extra over and above, especially to our steward. And she made me little cards to leave their tip in. Is that not cute? And you can write them a little note. So she made me cards. And she said, you could use this all in for your little tip. I said, oh my goodness, that is amazing. So, I mean, how cute are these? So cute. I love them. So 4 different adventure awaits. You're a lifesaver. You're my anchor. So cute, so cute. So, Miss Lydia, thank you so much if you're watching, honey. I love these. I will cherish these, and I will use them. You know that. And then I got one more thing, and it was on sale. It was $50 it was $100, but it was on sale for $50. But check it out. It's a little, let me see if I can get him to turn around. Little Christmas Brighton charm bracelet. Look at the little sled. And this little thing opens up. Look at that little gift inside. I mean, how pretty, a little heart. So cute, little reindeer. Look at the little reindeer there. Little Rudolph. So I love it, and it's Brighton, and that is something that I will have for the rest of my life. It was $50, but Chris and I had booked our cruise under a special, and we are given a lot of onboard cash. So I had a lot of onboard cash to spend on that on the second cruise. So I had put it back during the first cruise and said, can you hold this till next week? I'm gonna be back on the ship, but I'm gonna have a lot more onboard cash to spend. So it was like, that was already there because it came with so it's not like I got this for like free, not really, but you know, I had onboard cash for as a special. So that's what I bought with that. So that was our cruise pretty much. We disembarked and had a rather harrowing trip home. We ended up not getting home until like 3:30 in the morning. The next morning, we got delayed. Our flight was delayed at Vancouver, and then it was delayed again in Dallas. So it was a bumpy ride between Vancouver and Dallas. Oh my goodness gracious. And then from Dallas, once we got out of Texas, it took us a little while. We were, you know, a good bit of bumping and going on there. So, but then we pulled in the driveway here at about 3:30. You can see 3:30 a.m. and Sam was like, "Who's here?" And I did not take video of that. Was pulling up the driveway as you saw, but I didn't take video of Sam. I was so tired. So we came in, and then I was starting to get sick on the plane coming home. I started hitting a scratchy throat, and you know, then the last week was pretty much me down, and Chris was down too. But anyway, that's it. And I think I'm going to go ahead and leave this in one video here. I think I got through it okay and explained everything as much as I wanted to and showed you all the pictures. And if y'all ever have any questions about an Alaska cruise, I'd be glad to answer your questions. Just email me at arlyns, CCC, ARLYNNS, CCC @gmail.com. I'd be glad to help you out and give you suggestions and, you know, opinions and whatever. I don't know about any other cruise lines but Princess, so don't ask me about any other cruise lines but Princess. If you're interested in Princess, which I would highly encourage everybody because I think they have the corner on Alaska cruises, but that's just my opinion, you know, again, my opinion. So, but if you have any questions, feel free to ask, and I'm going to use these couple of vlogs as my blogs for these videos because I'm so busy with my Country Craft Corner YouTube channel that I don't want to not talk about these cruises and not get them blogged. Like the last 2 cruises I've gone on, I've never gotten them blogged. I did do a cruise report on my Caribbean and on the Alaska cruise last year, but so I think this is probably the way I'll do it moving forward while I still have my Country Craft Corner channel, that is, because I'm so busy and I don't want to not give these cruises the time that they deserve, because I love my cruises, and Chris and I are very lucky indeed that we get to do these. We've budgeted for them, we've saved for them for years, and now we are enjoying our retirement, and we'll have cruises coming about 2 times a year moving forward. So we're very lucky, and we feel blessed to be able to do that. But we planned for it. It wasn't like it just happened, you know. Or Chris did. He's better at the financial stuff than me. Hey y'all, I'm coming in here, I'm morphing myself in. On another day, I was going through all the footage that I did about this cruise, and I realized that I needed to get in touch with somebody and ask them it was okay if I gave out their information because they had given me a gift. So that's one thing I want to talk to you about, and I also wanted to tell you a couple of more things. One of which that I forgot to say on our first sea day, after we did our scavenger hunt, we went and had lunch, and then at 1:30 we did a cabin crawl, y'all. There were many of us in this group. I think over 20 of us were in this group, and about 8 of us had said that we would be willing to do a cabin crawl. So we started at one end of the ship and worked our way to the aft, and we went and visited everybody's rooms who said that they would be, you know, okay with that. Cheryl put this whole thing together. She is awesome, I am telling you. And her and Scott work together seamlessly. They make a great team, I'm telling you. They had this group cruise planned down to a T. It was wonderful. It was wonderful, y'all. So we did that. I wanted to say that. And then I wanted to touch on the Alaska Cruise Companion book. And now I know I have a standalone video about this, and that I will put a link for that in the description. But I just wanted to show you the most current Alaska Cruise Companion book. This is 2019. Some things may change as we move forward in time. I don't know, but this is 2019. The copyright on this book is 2016. This book comes with a map. Now, I purchased this book in 2017. They have the exact same thing in the shops on Princess ships right now. Somebody yesterday had mentioned that they found the Joe Upton book on Amazon. This is the Joe Upton book. This book's copyright is 2007. These books are exactly the same size. This one may be a smidge heavier because it is a smidge thicker, not much. I no longer have the map with this book. I don't know what happened to it all those years ago, but it did come with a map when it was sold. I don't know the difference in the two books. I don't remember. I know this has more information than this book. This gentleman had a whole series that Princess used to show on their televisions during the cruises, and the book would correspond with the series and the map, and it was quite a little to do. For whatever reason, I don't know, they no longer sell this book. So this is a bit of an antiquated version, I feel sure. It is this Joe Upton's version, and information is wonderful, and he was very entertaining and very good. So in that respect, it's great. So, but if you want the more updated book, because you will see this one on Amazon. This one is much harder to find on Amazon. This one cost $18.99 with the map in the shops. Judy just told us the other day that she found a more intense map. I think that would pair with this. I'm not sure. We'd have to ask Judy. Maybe she can say. I can't remember what she said, to be honest with you. I wish I had that map, though, and I'll be getting that map next time I cruise to Alaska, which may be in the queue very soon. Not for 2020, but probably for 2021. And so anyway, I just wanted to touch on the two different books that you will see this for cheaper on Amazon, and you can get it, I mean, for sure. So it's a very good book. If you want the most current book, though, this is it. So I just wanted to clarify that for y'all. Okay, there we go. I'll put a picture of the map here, and all the front and the back of it. And one more thing I wanted to touch on, and that is a gift that I was given. Heather and Ray stopped me in the hallway, and Ray is a wood turner, I think that's what it is. And look what they gave me, y'all. Look how beautiful this is. He turned this, apparently. Look at how pretty. Look at how pretty that is. And it is a seam ripper. Look at that. Now, I know I have a lot of seamstresses and quilters and whatnot, and he has given me permission to give his information out, y'all. So I don't know how much this would be, but you could sure touch base with him and and find out. Oh my goodness, is that not beautiful? That is the prettiest seam stripper I have ever seen in my life, y'all. It is absolutely amazing. Look at that. Is that not gorgeous? Find something to... It's not my shirt you're looking at. There we go. It's beautiful. It's heavy. I mean, it's easily held. It's absolutely beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. It stood there. They gave it to me when we were in the hallway. And I was standing there crying. I'm like, oh my goodness, are you kidding me, you guys? I mean, how much more perfect? It's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And it came in a nice little velvety case. It's absolutely beautiful. So I encourage you, if you are interested in getting something like this, I will put his information in the description. He's the Turning Timber, Whitby, Ontario. They're Canadians. They're from Canada. So I'm sure he'd work out something with y'all as far as shipping or whatever is concerned. But you can find him on, it looks like he has an Etsy shop. I don't have my glasses, yeah. Looks like they have an Etsy shop. And you can find him on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. Oh my goodness, they're everywhere. So I'll give you this information in the description. Let me flash up his card here. I'm going to flash up the card, everything but his phone number, because he does not need to have his phone blown up. But certainly has his email address on it here, and you can certainly reach out via email if any of you are interested. They said absolutely we can give out this information. So it's absolutely beautiful, y'all. One more look. Look. Absolutely gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. Snugs down in there beautifully. That is not going anywhere. That is absolutely beautiful. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? Oh my goodness. All right. I think I'm going to go ahead and say my final words here, since I know I did in the other one, but I'll just say them here, and I'll use whichever one I like the best. So, but I did want to end this one. I think that's everything. I don't think I'll be morphing back in with any other information. If I do, it'll be via picture and via, you know, heading or something, you know. But let me just say thank you all so much for stopping by to see me and to visit with me, those on my Country Craft Corner and on my travel YouTube channels, both. I appreciate all of your support. I appreciate you subscribing if you have. If you don't want to, it's okay too. I don't ever ask for subscribers. I figure if you want to subscribe, you will. But I appreciate your support, and I appreciate you stopping by to take a peek, and you know, hopefully you've learned a little something. And if you're welcome to email me, and I will try to get back to you as quickly as I can. I'm a busy lady over here. I'm in the middle of a patriotic decor series on my Country Craft Corner site. So, and I still have a couple of more cruising videos to get out. I have two room tours, one that Scott did for me of his room, and then I do one of our stateroom. So I've got two more videos coming up to edit and stuff after I get this up. But this was my baby. This is the one that I wanted to get up for you guys. Alaska, I will say, is, if I have to have a favorite as far as cruising is concerned, Alaska is my very favorite. So I wanted to do this video justice, and I know it's long, and hopefully you've been able to take a break and have a cup of coffee, or get a cup of coffee and have a muffin, and join me as I yammer along and show you the sights and let you hear the sounds and see the whales and hear the train and all of that stuff, all the sights and sounds of Alaska. But anyway, I'm going to go into some final words. And again, I will say one more time, and probably after this one on my travel channel, I won't say this anymore, but just for the purposes of this video, I wanted to let you guys know, if you're new to my channel, I know I have a lot of new subscribers on my travel channel here, that I have been saying these final words for over a year now, I believe, on my Country Craft Corner YouTube channel. I felt like they were given to me, and I cannot in good conscience close out a video without saying these words. So here we go. I hope that those of you who are struggling or suffering with a catastrophic illness or chronic pain, I hope you have someone there with you, taking care of you, helping you get through each day, making the very, very best out of each day. I hope there's nothing weighing on your minds or your hearts, pulling your attention away from where you want it to be, or from where it should be. I love y'all to bits, to bits, to bits, hugs all around, and I keep you in my thoughts and my prayers every single day. And with all that said, I'll just say, until next time, y'all take good care. Bye-bye.